Welcome to the 3-Wick Thesis candle channel. Today I have for you an episode of my Lighting the Way series. My name is Tracy and today's episode is on Goose Creek's Cinnamon Bun Icing. Now, this was a part of a 4-candle release that happened at Goose Creek. I believe these are their signature line candles. One of them was is it pumpkin cinnamon or cinnamon pumpkin? They had their champagne bubbles return, and then the other one was, is it cider and sweaters? I only got this one because this is the only one that's new to me. The champagne bubbles is a dupe of Bath & Body Works champagne toast, although I like champagne bubbles better. It has better throw and a cleaner burn in my experience. The cinnamon pumpkin or pumpkin cinnamon, whichever one that is a part of the collection I recently did. They have that in the other label, and that came in the pumpkin lit review episode. I'll go ahead and link that below in case you want to see more on that one. And then the cider and sweaters is a part of a re-release that just came out. So today's is just focusing on cinnamon bun icing. The label on this one is very literal. You see cinnamon buns with some beautiful icing on it. You have a nice brown kind of cinnamon colored border at the bottom. The wraparound is actually well done. I almost can't tell that there's a seam there. Again, Goose Creek is stepping up their game in terms of their seam connections. You have just a kind of boring standard stainless steel lid, white wax, and then these are thin stiff ropey wicks. I noticed that the label on this looks like the older style. However, it does have a more recent batch date from 2025. So I'm wondering if they just used last year's label. They didn't update it at all. So the label was throwing me off. Here, let me show you a newer one from them so you know what I mean. Here's Summer Veranda. Here's Cinnamon Bun Icing. So the style is slightly different. The warning label is different. The font size is different. First thing I saw when I flipped this over, I was like, oh, they gave me last year's candle. But then I saw the pour date from this year, so I think they're just using probably the old format, putting it on there, and then printing the new batch. So I do think this is a fresh candle. It just freaked me out a little bit. Just know if you see it and your number starts in 5, this little number right here, it's from this year. This has scent notes of gooey cinnamon bun, sweet icing, and baking spices. Yeah, it's okay. For it being cinnamon bun icing, I want more sweetness. I kind of wanted this to be like hit me over the head, cloyingly sweet, delicious powdered sugar glaze. And the first thing I get on this is cinnamon. And it's a pretty sharp cinnamon. Almost reads like a big red gum, like it's that sharp. It's super sharp. But then there's also some warmth to it. I don't know if that's additional cinnamon or if it's a different spice like cardamom. I think I get mostly cinnamon in here. And then on the base note, the base level, kind of the next and last fragrance you get is a sweet icing. And it almost reads like more of a cream cheese icing. I don't think it is. It's not quite sour enough. But it feels richer than a powdered sugar icing. It's got what feels like some richness and complexity to it, more so than what you'd get from like a powdered sugar. It's beautiful. It's yummy. It's gourmand. It's delicious. It's edible. But heavier on the cinnamon than I was expecting. I will say, however, in my experience with cinnamon candles, on cold, if that cinnamon hits you like a wall, often when you warm it, it tones way down. So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen with this one. I'm going to take a cut and a break. I'm going to go burn this, take some burn footage, take some notes about strength and throw. I'm going to get through at least 3 burns so that you have some insight into the burn quality as well. And I will come right back and share with you my findings so that we know how this evolved on warm. Cinnamon bun icing. All right, I'm back with an update on how this candle evolved on warm. For the most part, I like this candle, but the hubs and I both have just a little tiny hiccup / barrier to fully enjoying it. So I'm going to explain what's going on with this thing. First of all, the good stuff. it is a strong candle. It's very strong. It filled the space. It is very gourmandy. However, it is also very cinnamony. I think Goose Creek went too heavy on the cinnamon that's in here. Now, if you like cinnamon, then by all means, this is going to be your candle. But for me, it drowned out the deliciousness that is what I would expect, the icing note, right? From a candle that says cinnamon bun icing. You do get the icing note in here. However, it feels like a very light, like powdered sugar glaze. And the best way I can describe this fragrance on warm, I'm going to describe it in two different ways. One is when you have like still warm cinnamon buns that just came out of the oven and you break it apart. And if you're like me, you might go for the center first, and it's just really warm and gooey and tends to be really concentrated in flavor. Like that's where you have the most cinnamon spice and often the most like dough with cinnamon, but not as much glaze or icing. That's what this smells like. So it smells like the center of a cinnamon roll. However, there is a note in here that feels a little bit off to me, and it's reminding me of Kringle's cherry cola candle. And that makes no sense to me. I'm sure it makes no sense to you because there is no cola note in this. There is no cherry note in this. But there is something that is so strong about the cinnamon and the way it's blending with the sweetness that I feel like it almost starts to smell like a sassafras, like a cola. And then for Jason, it had that like burnt note to it. He said it's not quite as bad as the cherry cola candle. That one literally smelled like you had plastic burning to him. He said instead it smells like you put like plastic on a hot burner on a stove and it's just started to melt, but it's not like lit up and on fire. So I know that's very detailed, but those are different smells. So he gets burnt plastic. I definitely get like a burnt, almost cola note in it. And in general, it's just weird to me. I did lamp it instead because I thought that might help get rid of some of the burn smell. And it did, but I don't think it's because the flame wasn't there. I think it's because I can control with my lamp how much of a wax pool forms. And when it was burning, it formed a pretty deep wax pool. And under the lamp, I can turn it down and I don't get as deep of a pool. And therefore, I'm not getting as strong of a fragrance. And that made it go away a little bit for me. It was still present, but it was much more muted. And I feel like I got more of the cinnamon sweetness and less of that, whatever that burnt cola note is that's in there. I'm not saying don't get it. I'm not saying it's not good. I think burn it with open windows, and unless you really, really like the fragrance, then go ham on it. The pastry note could have been stronger on this one for me. Good throw. It filled up the space. Beautiful in terms of burn quality. I didn't have any fallout or wick residue, wax residue. And the burn video that you're seeing here is on the fourth burn. So I did get a little bit of a ways through it. This is a slow burner. Normally, fourth burn, I'm a little bit further down in terms of wax pool. So despite it pooling really deeply, it wasn't evaporating really quickly. So it's lasting, it's holding up, it's performing well in terms of burn quality. Just have to get past that kind of strange, really, really interesting cinnamon note that's in here. If you have any questions about this candle, feel free to put those in the comments below. I'd love to help you out if I can. If you have burned this one, also share your experience with me and what you think of it. And my other viewers would really appreciate that as well, even if it contradicts what I have to say. If you appreciate this review, give me a thumbs up. Engaging with my channel always helps me out, motivates me to keep creating. And if you aren't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button before you take off, and that way I will continue to show up in your subscription feed here on YouTube. I will see you in my next review. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.